Hello, welcome back to Temple of the Holy Beard. I'm Pastor Dave. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and then set your notifications to all. Hit that little bell, notifications, all. That way you'll be sure to be notified when I post new videos, and keep yourself up to date on everything that's going on in the Holy Beard. In the world of the Holy Beard, in the Temple of the Holy Beard, everything we're doing here, and the good word as it's being passed. So let's get started. So this morning I woke up, and as always, when I get information, when I get direction, it usually comes in little snippets, little reminders that just come to me. Or pictures, visions, if you will, just things of, hey, don't forget about this. And today's reminder was on the preparedness front, and I want to get into sharing more news videos with you, but I think with that I'm probably going to end up doing 2 videos a lot of days, and trying to get there. Give me some time. But reminders that were coming to me today were a couple different stories that I was hearing very, very recently, within the last couple days, of shortages and supplies just not being normal. If you've been keeping up with the real world, you're already aware of supply chain shortages. That's no news. But this information was showing different changes in it hitting more areas. One story came from a truck driver who is out in the middle of the country somewhere. I don't know what state he was in, but truck driver, he was taking a load from Purina to Walmart distribution center. Remember that Purina makes dog food, cat food, livestock food, a list of different animal feeds. And typically when a trucker picks up a load, that truck is full. You're paying for that driver to take that truck from point A to point B. It doesn't matter if you put a paper clip in the back or if you fill that thing to the brim. It's going to cost you about the same. And so anytime you hire a truck driver to move a load, you want that load full. Well, this report was, he just took a load, like I said, from Purina. They make the food. They should be producing like mad, But this case, he was a little less than half full. I hate to say it, the glass is half full, but in this case, his truck weight capacity was a little bit less than half of what it normally is. Now, when you're picking up a load from a major manufacturer and you're taking it to a major distribution center, that truck is usually full. Because a Walmart distribution center has no problem passing it out to other stores. They're always going to send it somewhere. They want full loads. So for this guy to be less than half, that's concerning. Add to that, I've been hearing stories all summer long about people feeding Purina chicken food, and their chicken's just not laying consistently, and then when they incubate the eggs that were laid from those chickens, the hatch rate is significantly low, which makes me wonder about the quality of the feed that's coming in. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing Purina. They're normally a really good manufacturer, but there's some things going on. So my suggestion to you is think of your animals like you think of yourself. If the quality of the food is going down, or if they look like they're not as healthy as they normally are, look at making changes. You don't have to be committed to a brand name when there are plenty of others out there. However, on that note, different supply chain issues, put 2 and 2 together, what we've been seeing is that these major manufacturers that typically also produced by other lesser known names are reducing those lesser known names that they're producing, reducing the production of. so that they can focus more on their own brand names. So you might get less of Joe's dog food that's made by Purina, so that you can get more of Purina brand. And I'm sure they do that in part because they can make a little more money off of their own, the bigger names, but also just because they're having shortages of the supplies that they use to make what they make. And that's not just Purina, that's every manufacturer. Hearing stories across the country and other parts of the world where you have factories that just aren't receiving as much supplies, or the supplies are lower quality. One place used a certain type of corrugated cardboard to put in between their products when they stack their products and ship it out. And the cardboard manufacturer had to decrease the quality of their product to align with the supply that's coming in. And when they decrease the quality of their product, it's not sturdy enough for what they need. They go to package everything up and it collapses, and they have to throw everything out because now it's damaged, it's no good, and they have to go make it again. Well, them throwing it out means that there's less going out the door to the next stop, the next factory, or the next, the next person that were to buy that. That's one less shipment because something got damaged. Rambling, but shortages are everywhere. Another story from another truck driver was involving grain. This guy was, I say guy, I don't remember if it was a man or a woman. I say guy, it's gender neutral. I don't care what they are. Anyway, this trucker was carrying a load of wheat, and he said, you know what wheat typically looks like when it's fully grown. It's got a nice golden color. It usually dries pretty good. It looks a certain way, and when you drive it regularly, you get used to how it looks. You get used to how it weighs. There just becomes a normal. You can just glance at it and yes, that's good wheat. Well, it's not good wheat. It's not the same right now as it typically is. That wheat that's normally a nice golden color is now greenish. He doesn't know exactly what's going on, but it's just not the good quality. It doesn't seem to be drying quite as well. It doesn't seem to be growing to full production. But it's getting to that point where the farmer's got to harvest it. So they can either let it grow and lose out on a lot of money, a lot of income, or they can harvest it now and make the best of it. And so they're doing what's best, and they're harvesting it now, but what's coming out is just not the good quality. And that's a combination of shortages of fertilizer, and droughts in some areas, and rain and flooding in other areas. And I mean, we're just in a hurricane of Murphy's Law of whatever can go wrong is going wrong. And that's where we're at right now, is certain areas that produce significant amount of food for the country is drying up from lack of rainfall, and they can't irrigate for lack of water availability. So communities had to make a choice. Do we water the crops to feed, or do we let people drink? Choosing between the two, unfortunately, in the short term, allowing people to drink water is more important. If they don't have enough water to drink, that's going to cause problems. Unfortunately, in the longer term, if the plants don't have enough water to drink, they're not going to produce right, and the food that we're going to be eating is going to be either lower quality, less healthy, or non-existent. So with that in mind, today's sermon is a reminder of preparedness and self-sufficiency. It's getting a little late in the year now, towards the end of August, but you can still get another crop in. If you have a garden, you can still plant fall crops. It's not too late for a lot of things, depending on where you live. So plant more to help get you through the winter. If you've already have food in your pantry, you already have canned items that you canned or you bought from the store, whatever, that's great. Eat your fresh first, because that's going to go bad first. Then I lean towards clearing out the freezer, then go with the canned items. But you do it however you do it. Reason I say go with the freezer next is I'm always concerned about power loss. Freezers are dependent on electricity, and we lose electricity, your freezer goes out, you lose your food that's in there, unless you've got a generator and you're able to sustain long term, or long enough. Which leads to the next point of energy shortages everywhere. Thankfully, depending on how you look at it, thankfully, a court recently ruled that United States government had to allow energy drilling for natural gas and oil in certain areas. It wasn't everywhere in the country that's been canceled, but it was some key places. So we should see gas prices going down. We should see energy prices for natural gas going down in the next couple of months. However, that's not the big picture. Big picture, zoom out, we have to look at it from a world scale. And what we're seeing is in Europe, Germany in particular, they had the great idea if they wanted to go to renewable energies, and they were doing very well. Between solar and wind, they were able to shut down almost all of their nuclear power plants. If I remember correctly, they were down to one nuclear power plant left. That's amazing. To be able to supply a country off of all renewable energy is doing really well. However, read a little bit closer, and they actually offsetted some of their nuclear with other productions, and they're getting a lot of natural gas and oil from Russia. So it looked good on the surface, but it wasn't as good as it looked. And now with the tensions on the world stage with Russia, the European Union and many European countries have done embargoes with purchasing things from Russia. You know, Russia kind of fought back and said, well, you want to cut me off of all of this stuff, but you still want to buy my oil and natural gas? You know, maybe my pipelines aren't working very well. And then they officially made the announcement that, I believe it was in December, they're going to be throttling down their pipeline even more. I don't remember the excuse they gave, but the point is that Russia's going to be only supplying about 25% of the production as they were previously, which means that Europe, and like I said, Germany, Italy, and there's a couple other countries that are hardest hit, but Europe is not going to be receiving nearly as much oil and natural gas from Russia as they had been previously, which means it's going to be a cold, dark winter in Germany. There's people that are already cutting back. If you don't need lights on, turn it off. If you don't need this, you don't need that, turn it off. They're getting the government pushing down on the individuals, telling them to turn things off. And the government's already looking at opening up warming centers, which is going to be a building with a heater on that you can go to if your house is too cold. Basically, if you put all this together, what it means is that they're not sure that they're going to have sufficient natural gas supply to be able to keep their citizens warm. And a big chunk of that goes to the factories and the production, which means that factories that run off of natural gas are either going to be throttling down production to try to save gas, or they're going to be shut down altogether. So what U.S. and Canadian government was already looking at was increasing the exports to go to Europe to offset that shortage. Well, right now, Europe is paying roughly 9 times as much for their usage as what we are in the United States and Canada. And so if we start increasing the export to go to them, that means the prices domestically are going to go up. So prices have already gone up significantly. Some places are paying 30 to 40% more for energy than they were a year ago. And so if that exports go up to help offset them, then we're going to be competing for prices against the European prices, which, like I said, are currently 9 times more than what the U.S. and Canada are paying. So you can expect for your costs to go up significantly on top of what it's already gone up. That being said, look at yourself. Look at the way you live. If you are off-grid or semi-off-grid, if you have a propane or a natural gas tank at your house, fill it up. If your furnace uses fuel oil or off-road diesel and you have a tank at your house, fill it up now. If it's not full to the top now, top it off. Um, Hopefully that tank that you have is enough to get you through winter, or hopefully it's at least enough to get you until everything gets to a common, you know, a lower level again. Because I envision that this moderately lower level that we're at right now, price that we're at right now, is not going to last long. Um, I think we've got a month, tops 3 months, but I think we're looking at a month, month and a half, 2 months is probably more like it before those prices are going to take another big jump. I think our price is going to be competing. We're probably going to beat where we were at a couple months ago. Now, opening up that drilling and pumping, like the judge did, if that goes through and stays through, that could lower our prices right now. But the problem that people are running into is that the cost of everything has gone up so much to where people are having to pick and choose. A lot of people are noticing, if you go out to eat, you go to fast food or slow food, if you go out to eat, those prices are jumping up like crazy. Maybe two people could have gone out to eat, sit down, decent restaurant for, $20, $25. Well, that's probably at about 40 right now, or higher depending on where you go. Of course, some places jumped higher than others. Fast food's the same way. Pre-COVID, a person could go out to eat for, $8, $7, get a meal, and I felt like that was high. Well, now that same meal is 10 to 12, 14, depending on where you live. That's up to a 50% increase. And so, a lot of people are looking at it and saying, well, first of all, that's expensive. I can't afford that. Plus, what I have to pay for gas and electricity and everything else. The prices of everything are going up so much to where you got to decide, is it worth it? Because you could make a good, healthy meal at home, for significantly less than that. You could feed your whole family for less than. Sorry, reminder, I gotta turn that off. So for what it costs to take your family out to a fast food restaurant or a slow food restaurant, for the cost of one person, you could feed everybody and have leftovers. Granted, it still costs more than it did 2 years ago, significantly more than it did 2 years ago, but that's significantly less than what it costs to pay them. Plus, consider the time and the gas that it takes for you to drive there and back. So, do everything that you can to do for yourself. If all you can do for yourself is cook at home, do it. That's something. But find ways to improve yourself. When you go out to the store, don't just go out to one store and come back. Plan your trips. If you need one thing and it's urgent, it's emergency, you have to have it, I get it. But try to plan ahead. I do a weekly shopping trip. And when I go out, I'm out for a while, but I'm not going to just hit one store and come straight back. I do all my errands that I need to for the week. And then I come back in with a truckload of stuff, with a load of stuff anyway. I hit the grocery store, hit, everything that I can hit, everything that I need to hit, and then bring it all back, and then I don't go out again. I also live in the country where, the grocery store is 15 minutes away at least. So running out to the grocery store isn't like just going down to the corner. But even then, you factor in gas and time, it's not as convenient as it seems. But rambling again, point is, supply chains are getting worse. Shortages are hitting everything. If you're not seeing it yet, you're lucky. Prices are going to start going up soon. So have extra on hand. Whatever it is that you use on a regular basis or semi-regular basis, get a little extra. Um, things that are gonna sustain. Canned goods, um, bad goods if you can keep it good, keep it fresh, keep the bugs away. Anything that you can store for a longer period of time, buy extra now. Because prices are going to go up and supplies are going to get short. And when the grocery store runs out of food, you don't want to be the one with nothing else to eat. Keep that in mind. As you go through your daily routine, see what you can do. Don't panic. It's not an emergency, but we are getting on the edge where I feel as though it's urgent. So don't delay, but don't freak out. Don't go running out and buy everything, and don't max out your credit card trying to do this. Be smart about it. Um, if you have the ability to pay down debt that you have, do it. Everything that you owe is something that's hanging over your head, looming. So, like I said, just be smart about it. Look and see, what you have on hand. Food, water, ownership are the most important things. Um, so if times get really tough, you don't want to be worrying about somebody repossessing your car if you could have paid it off now. Your house, you probably owe a lot on it. So look at ways that you can, if you can put away a little bit extra money, savings account, cash, whatever, put away a little extra. Shoot for step one, 30 days. Enough food and money to sustain you for 30 days. If you lose your job, if you lose your income stream, if you have enough to pay your bare minimum essentials for 30 days, that gives you a buffer while you find another job. Use that as step one and grow from there. Next step was going to be more like 90 days. Food is a very essential one. They're not going to repossess your house right away. If you feel like you're in danger of missing a payment, call that bank. Talk about them. Usually they won't do anything until you're going to miss a payment. But if you call them and you work something out, that's going to buy you some time. Typically, they're understanding. They don't want you to just stop paying with no notification. They'll make a note of it. They'll work something out. They'll tell you what programs are available to help you. So that's the cash front. The food front, if you get into dire straits, there are food banks around. Yeah, you've got to swallow your pride and go ask for help, but they are there to help. However, right now, everybody else is in the same situation, and those food banks are struggling. And stories I'm hearing, they're doing everything they can, but where they used to have a decent line of people coming in asking for help, now they've got a line of cars stretching down the road. Honestly, I don't know how they're able to do it, but they're doing the best they can, and that's amazing. That's great. So if you can look out for yourself and for your family and make up your own food pantry so that you don't have to stand in line, that opens up the line for one other person who really does need it. So, self-sufficiency. What can you do for yourself? How can you better take care of yourself and your family? If the time comes and you're able to help out a neighbor, great. Helping out the community is great. However, as they say, don't talk about Fight Club. Don't tell anybody what else you have. If you're going to give them anything, fill up a grocery bag with a couple of cans of something or whatever you have and bring it to them. Don't invite them into your house. Don't give anybody the opportunity to see what else you have. Don't tell them what you have. Even if you're in a good situation, imply that you're struggling. Yeah, times are tough. We're hurting too, but here, I brought this over to help you. I'm trying to look out for you. like I said, like they say, don't talk about Fight Club. Don't open up your door and show somebody, because worst case scenario, things get real tough. If they think you have, they may try to take it, and it's better to try to avoid that situation than to try to deal with it when it comes. Anyway, like I said, this is Pastor Dave, Temple of Holy Beard. I hope this information hits you well. I'm providing this information to help relieve some stress, help get you thinking, help get you looking forward. If you've got tunnel vision and you've only seen what's directly in front of you, you're not looking at the sides, you're not looking ahead, that's a dangerous situation to be in. Open your eyes, look around, pay attention to what's going on around you, and stay tuned to these videos. Like I said, I'm going to be giving different sermons, whatever the Beard tells me to talk about, I'm going to talk about, and I hope you find it helpful. And I hope you find this information, to help guide your life, in a good direction. So if you, again, this is your first time tuning in, make sure you hit that like button, show your support. Anything you have to share, anything you want to say, put it in the comments. Those comments are very helpful. I appreciate any feedback you have, even if it's just the audio is terrible, the video is this, give me constructive criticism. I appreciate it. Nothing else, just shoot, type in a great video, thanks for sharing, something like that. I appreciate it. I read all those comments, even if I'm a little slow to respond. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, set the notification bell, set it to all so you stay informed. And appreciate you being with us here. Stay tuned for more great videos. I'm Pastor Dave from the Temple of Holy Beard. Thanks for watching.